National, same as CMA, CGA.
Well, we had the Canadian Movement for Literacy, you know, a movement for Canadian literacy, and what happened to that? It was credible, it was high level professionalization. What happened to that?
Leslie, and I'd like you to, just before Leslie proceeds, let's start thinking about what do we want to have happen now.
I'm actually going to talk about both of those. There still is the Canadian Literacy Learning Network. Am I right?
Yes. Right.
Thank you. And Lindsay Kennedy is here as a representative for that. There's also ABC, Life Literacy Canada here. So I don't know if we need to develop any new national organizations. I think they're already in place. We just need to see how we can feed this into. There's also the coalitions, which can all support. I mean, we're with the Ontario Literacy Coalition. We can't do a national strategy, but we can take leadership in Ontario. And I'm sure all the coalitions, Anne Marie's here from Nova Scotia, all the coalitions would be more than happy to take leadership within their provinces to feed into a national strategy.
Sorry, somebody else had their hand up?
I'm just curious to know who said, don't get mad, get statistics. I want to quote you this afternoon, so I needed to know that for attribution. But the research
If you like it, please use it. If you don't, I won't admit to it.
Are you from St. Rex?
Yeah.
We emailed that.
Okay, we have,
Okay.
sorry, we got to keep
So
moving
that's
on.
yeah, but the research,
We've
I
got-
think the next step, you need some research. If you're going to lobby, you have to have your facts.
And Margaret?
Well, looking at models for national, if you look at the employment field, there were competencies delivered. It took 10 years to do them. I was there all the 10 years. And there are competencies in place for different levels of qualifications from entry level to masters. And it was developed in consultation all across the country. It was started by Brian Hebert at the University of Calgary. And so in the employment field now, it's very clear what level you might be on and the competencies are there. So it's all being done. That's just one model, but that's something that you could look at. We are now to integrate with employment. So why would we not look at that model and see what can be done for the literacy field? I'd also like to add that I've been an advocate for having an association for Ontario because I know that the umbrella bodies, anybody who is funded, you know, here, is not allowed to advocate for the field. That's not one of your to-do activities. So if you want to advocate, and I presume we do, at some point for something, you need to have an arm's length association that can speak on our behalf. And membership, we need one person with a computer, with a database, and everyone able to be a member for 10 bucks, whatever, and then we would be by the laws of associations. And we could develop many of those things through our association, not through some funding body that is told what to do by any government funder.
And certainly along the line of core skills list, this is still an excellent document. And if you've got one of the two other copies, please bring it back. Because it's the last three that the OLC have, and they don't have a PDF of it, so if you could just bring it back. Any other suggestions? Alan?
Well, I wanted to say in addition to this that a thing that I wrote, actually, it's in your packet there about what's professional, and I think there's a professionalization club. I think for purposes of literacy, I wish we could move ahead and advance and discuss enhancing skills, number one, enhancing knowledge, number two. But I hope we don't move ahead and forget our values, which have, you know, created this and sustained this field, for better or worse. That it's not just about what we don't know and what the skills we don't have, but the anchor should be the values that we've brought to this field for, we're going to talk about this tomorrow, close to 100 years in here. And so I would hope that was part of whatever grows out of a movement, unlike some other models. They're all about, well, you got to beef up your skills, you know. What values do we hold, and how do you think about them and reflect them and increase those and share those?
Other things we should do now, and I just want to say, Leslie mentioned to me that the flip charts will be typed up by OLC in, you know, give us a couple weeks, and then they'll be fed back to you. Sorry, Joanne?
Yes, I just wanted to pick up on a comment about looking at other models, because I think we can learn. We don't always need to reinvent the wheel. We've established that we have, in this room, at least have leadership and enthusiasm for the concept. And recently we've gone through the whole process in Ontario of accreditation of the ECE staff, for example, right? And even though it's a different concept and a different model, there are going to be lots of parallels around that process that we can learn from. That the staff who were currently there, how did that process roll out? I mean, I don't want to go into it, but
Yeah.
just look at something that's currently and recently happened, see what are some of the successes and some of the challenges, and what can we learn from that experience.
And Tessel's another example. And social workers, another volunteer management is going through that, and Margaret Bragg, career developers, career development professionals. Any other things that should happen now? Actions we want to see happen?
I'm really new to adult literacy, but what I see here is all this great ideas. Who is actually willing to start to take the names of those of us who are willing to offer our names to a membership list and actually get the ball rolling? We need to start somewhere. All the things people are talking about, our values, our structures, whether it be a provincial or national or whatever, all of that is fine and has to happen in discussion and in a democratic process, but we'll never get anywhere unless we don't first say, who can I give my name to apply for this membership association? Because I would like to meet that person and give them my name and contact information.
I vote for you.
Do people want to commit themselves to, I just put this down because it sounded like, professionalization practitioner action committee?
You're talking provincial?
I don't know. I only have one idea at a time. But it is a good question that Lindsay poses.
It's time for action.
Does anybody want to commit to being on such a committee?
But Lindsay, sorry, and maybe we do it almost like a chamber type of model. That there's things that the national organizations can do, there's things that we can all do at a provincial level, there's things that maybe they can have, there's networks here at a regional level. And if we kind of do that structure, but we're all feeding it in somehow.
Okay, Lee and then Lindsay.
What you also have to keep in mind in all of this is that we have more than one stream. So we need to make sure that as this proceeds ahead, there is consultation and inclusion with the deaf, the francophone, and the native stream, as well as the anglophone-based stream. So I think something in the situation where OLC, whether it meets all of the manual criteria, the fact that you already have standing and respect from the various ministries and you have those databases and relationships in place, is this something that OLC could take forward and begin to work on?
Lindsay?
I was just going to say, we can certainly, I mean, it's been a passion of ours, we can certainly do it. What I don't want to do is usurp what's happening across Canada, because I mean, we are just one province. So I'd be willing to take whatever leadership is given to us in working in conjunction with the other bodies.
I was just going to say,
Can you stand up, Lindsay?
tomorrow morning at a really great time at 8:15 in the morning, the national organizations are holding a discussion to talk about the description in the program doesn't really sound, because I created the title like months ago, but we've evolved the discussion. We're going to be talking about a pan-Canadian strategy for adult literacy, and this actually, I think, fits into that whole strategy as one of the aspects of something that is an important part of the strategy. So we can continue, those of you who might be at the session tomorrow morning, this discussion. So I'm just putting that out there. We can continue.
Any other things you'd like to have happen now? Margaret?
Could we just see how far a flip chart put up there, and if anyone does want to put the name up to be part of the provincial committee, then they could do so.
Margaret, could we use these pink sheets? Everybody has a pink sheet if they want to. Put your name there, last question.
If you're interested, hotly interested in this topic, and you're willing to put your name down, then put your name down. What? You want your name on there? Any other ideas about what should happen now? I do want to give you time to fill out your evaluations, fill out your pink sheets if you've got them. Yep. Alan?
One thing that's obvious, even in the short time we've had, is how inconsistent we are across provinces, right? Never mind territories on. But I mean, we talk about the regulations for learners. Is this really the case EI next door? We don't know. Never mind with the practitioners' world and the inconsistencies, not just in provinces, but we have no basis to say, well, that's not what's going on in New Brunswick. Why in Nova Scotia do we have to have this? We don't have any even clearinghouse. I would argue that the first, well, I would hope that the first duty would be to at least let's see what everybody's doing and what's working well under, you know, this sort of broad professionalization, because we have no grounds to say we're being screwed in this province. It shouldn't be like this, because look at next door. That may get ignored, but it's divided and conquered consistently under the, what you said earlier.
Sign him up.
Yeah, and I just,
Clearinghouse.
Alan, I just put that as e-scan, like environmental scan of what's happening now.
Environmental scan, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put
Yeah.
my name up there.
Is that okay?
There you go.
And I mean, because I'm facilitating, I get to have the last word. Yeah, just my personal opinion, nobody has to agree with me. I'd love to see a committee in each province and then interprovincial communication that's facilitated by nationals, national, whatever. But I think if we each try in each of our provinces and also bring that to the national, I think one of the first things we can certainly accomplish is what are the best practices? Like you say, the knowledge, skills, values, attitudes that we value. That's our common. One of the things I took from this morning's panel that Elisa and John and Martin said was, develop a common community of practice. Look at your commonalities. We always have differences, but you know what? We have way more commonalities. When I heard all of you talking, there's a lot more common stuff than we had differences. I want to thank you for participating, and I think it's great to get this grassroots momentum going. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the